creating cultural awareness and understanding. This is Culture Clique. Culture Clique is written and produced by KQAL-FM on the campus of Winona State University.
Winona has a lot to offer in the way of unique experiences. There are many outdoor opportunities involving the bluffs and the river, a thriving arts and music scene, and festivals ranging from Shakespeare to Beethoven to bluegrass. But did you know that Winona has many options for health and wellness that might be considered outside of the norm for many people? There are practitioners in Winona that offer everything from herbal medicine to acupuncture to gong baths. That's right, from plants to needles to gongs. Oh my! Recently, there was a healthcare fair showcasing some of the different options available here in Winona, so this month on Culture Clique, we will be highlighting a few of those options in order to shed some light and hopefully answer some questions folks might be having about these unique offerings. Today we hear from Dr. Ariel Barkheim, owner of Rooted Family Medicine. She talks about the importance of a balanced diet, her flower essence tincture, and the different tools naturopaths have in their tool belt. So stay tuned. I'm Max Ackman with Dr. Ariel Barkheim of Rooted Family Medicine, today on Culture Clique. Hello, I'm here with Dr. Ariel Barkheim, the owner of Rooted Family Medicine. How are you doing today, Ariel?
Doing great, thank you.
Awesome. So, can you talk to the listeners at home a little bit about your experience and the work that you do here at Rooted Family Medicine?
Sure. So I'm trained as a naturopathic doctor. It's a 4-year graduate degree. And a lot of what I focus on here with my patients is holistic care, all about getting to the root cause of illness. It's a lot about educating my patients and really providing them with options to know how they can make changes to their health by their day-to-day actions.
And then the website talks a lot about like the naturopath work. Can you describe that a little bit too? Because I'm a little unfamiliar with it myself, and like our listeners at home, I'm not sure if they know about that. Can you just describe that a little bit for them?
Yeah, for sure. So I never heard the word naturopath till I was 21, and I graduated from Winona State. Oh, nice. So I actually learned about it while I was studying abroad through Winona State with their exchange program. And in Australia has a naturopathic program, and naturopathic doctors are well known throughout Australia. And they are throughout many parts of the United States as well. So kind of depends on the 4 or 5 states house our naturopathic universities. And so those are definitely the states that tend to be the most well known for naturopathic doctors. But we're trained similarly to a conventional MD. It's a 4-year graduate degree. And we learn clinical and physical sciences, like how to listen to your heart and how to listen to your lungs and how to read your lab work and all that same jazz. And we're also trained in pharmaceuticals. And in 16 other states, we can prescribe pharmaceuticals. Not currently in the state of Minnesota, but we are registered here. And that means that we're overseen by the Minnesota Medical Board, and, I have to submit my CEs and all that jazz. And so, a visit with a naturopath is a little bit different than a visit with a standard conventional doctor. It's usually, my initial consult is an hour and a half. So it's very detailed, and we go over sleep and stress and diet, and always a lot about digestion. So everybody knows when they come to see me that they're going to be asked about their bowel movements. Because a lot of the key of health is always for a naturopath is based on how healthy your gut is. So, it's a lot more intensive of an initial consult. And it's really kind of putting together all the pieces of health. Like, there's kind of a baseline of health that really needs to be there. And that's like sleep and exercise and social support and nutrition and gut health. And so it's really spending the time to make sure that all those pieces are in alignment, which is a lot of work. Yeah. It's like a full-time job just to be healthy. Okay. And so that's definitely a big part of what I do. And then because I was trained in, like I said, how to read lab work, I really like to do labs. I do that through my office. I do blood draws here. So I'm looking at people's vitamin D levels or their hormones and making sure that all their nutrients are in proper order. And then treatments are a little bit different too. So I use supplements. I use homeopathics. I use herbs. I have a wide variety of treatments that have a lower side effect profile than some of the pharmaceuticals, which is not to say I'm anti-pharmaceutical, because I've been trained in that. And sometimes it's teaching about what pharmaceuticals are really needed to like get our health to the place that we want to achieve our goals.
There's a lot there. Yeah.
I could have said more.
Sure. Well, we might get into some more too.
Hold back.
Yeah. So yeah, you talked about like the metabolic issues, like digestive disorders. I even saw on the website too, like mental health, chronic disease, and many more, it sounds like. So for someone who has like never been to a naturopath, how is it different than like a doctor's visit? Or like what's the different experience that they would get here versus like a regular doctor's visit?
Yeah, I mean, I think the shortest answer to that is time. So I think anybody who's been working in the conventional medical field or care system at this point in time recognizes that their doctors seem to have shorter and shorter amounts of time available, which is not their doctor's fault. It's just the system's overloaded, right? And so definitely the having the time and space to really investigate your health problems is a big difference. And then for me personally as a practitioner, I just tend to be super thorough. So I really like to know my patient's history, and I kind of keep track of them over time. It's almost like going back to like back in the day, a lot of people used to have a primary care doctor that they saw for years, that knew their health history and knew their family history and knew their story. It's a little more in alignment with that, versus some of the conventional world is moving to like more of you have like a team of caregivers, which can also be valuable because you get more eyes on your case. But it's just so there's a little bit of a different style to it.
Yeah, so it's more like what's the word I'm looking for? Personal. Yeah, personal. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah. Because, I've never thought about that, too. So since doctors are so busy nowadays, they just don't have enough time to kind of, like, sit down with their clients as often, correct?
Yeah. Or they don't, I mean, like, I sometimes joke with my patients that, like, I don't actually have your bowel movements memorized. I look them up before you come in. Like, okay. I, like, review who I'm seeing that day. What are we going to talk about? Okay, what are we working on? I need to check on X, Y, and Z. And so, these are the labs that we did last time that we need to keep an eye on, right? And some doctors are definitely doing that, but some have a hard time keeping up with all that when they're seeing, like, 15 people a day, which I couldn't if I was seeing that many people in a day. But I see a smaller amount of people, and so I spend a greater amount of time with them and monitoring their care.
Oh, nice. I was looking on your website, and you said you have a wide range of tools in your toolbox available to naturopaths. What kind of tools are these, and like how is this different, or how is it unique for like a naturopath? Like the unique tools that you guys have that you can use.
Yeah. So I think the difference in the conventional world, their main tool is pharmaceuticals, which is not to say all of them use that. Many of them, recommend some diet or increase your water, increase your exercise, or things like that. But for me, I'm always telling my patients, like, if you're at health level 1 and you want to get to health level 2, my job is to make sure you're not walking up the down escalator. Sure. So let's make sure, like, I'm not going to just tell you to exercise if you don't have any energy to exercise. I want to figure out why you don't have any energy. Is it because you don't have enough iron? Is it because you are low in B vitamins? Is it because you're low in vitamin D? Is it because you're sleeping 2 hours a night? Right? That's not going to work for anybody. And so, the labs help me get an idea of where we want to go with that. And then in terms of the tools, that might be, the things I just listed off there are making sure your nutrients are in proper order. So that's like using supplements. And a lot of times people are they're like, I'm taking a B complex, but their dosing isn't quite right. Many people are taking a B complex. They're getting 12 micrograms. I want them to take 500 to 1,000 micrograms. So they might not be feeling any difference with the amount that they're taking, right? In terms of the expansion of tools beyond just nutrients, and supplements. I also use homeopathy, which is a whole, like you could have a whole session on that in of its own. It's another type of treatment, and some people are trained just as a homeopath. For my training as a naturopath, it was included. I studied homeopathy all 4 years. So that's another style or type of treatment that I use. I also use herbs. Sometimes we think of herbs as like drinking a tea, but I use a lot of tinctures in my practice, which is an alcohol extract of herbs, or you can sometimes use them in encapsulated forms if you're not willing to take a tincture, which is very flavorful. I call it a party in the mouth. Or I use some flower essences. So like my toolbox expands as I'm like, oh, we could try this route. We could try this route. And what I've found is that it's helpful because each individual maybe can respond to different things. We're not a one size fits all type of community, turns out. Yeah. We need to have a lot of options because we're all different and we all respond differently to different things.
Absolutely. So you have more personalized options for each unique person then.
Yeah. And I mean, sometimes a person will be like, I can't take anything that's liquid. I can't take anything that's a pill. I can't take anything that's a tablet. And so there's like really and fine tune for each individual, so that, a lot of times I'll tell people like, if you don't take this, it won't work. Right. And sometimes that's part of the problem, you're not going to take something if it tastes terrible, or if you're talking about, and I mean, diet is another route that I go. So talking about making dietary changes, which can also be very difficult, to change, because diet's very habitual and we kind of just do what we've always done. And so sometimes changing your diet can be a challenge, but it's another route that people have as an option to make changes in their health.
Yeah, awesome. I saw that you do craniosacral therapy as well as flower essence sessions. You just mentioned it a little bit, but could you just describe that too a little bit? I'm a little dumb. I don't know craniosacral.
Sure. Yeah, so those are two different treatment options that I use. So craniosacral is actually manual therapy. It's similar to massage, except for it's not so much working with the deep tissue. It's a more subtle treatment. Some people might align it with like a Reiki, but has a very different root in terms of its development. It actually came from the osteopathic profession. And a treatment session would look similar to a massage. Have you ever had a massage?
Not a professional one, no.
Oh, well, you might want to check that out sometime. Yeah. It's a little bit like you're lying on a table and someone's laying hands on you, but it's all very light touch. But that is a treatment that works really well for headaches, concussions, a lot of muscular, like tension in the head. It can work for a lot of things, but it tends to be a very relaxing type treatment. Flower essence is something different. So that's actually would be kind of more like something that fits into my toolbox. And it's a different way of extracting medicinal components of herbs. So, but it doesn't have as much of that flavor as I mentioned in terms of a tincture. Flower essences are made by taking flowers from a multitude of different plants and exposing them to sunlight. And this has a long history as well through the Bach flower essences. And so it's a nice treatment that can be used for kids. It's useful for a lot of problems on the like energetic level. Oh, sure. So like for different options for things like anxiety or depression or things along that line, or workaholism or things, so other things that we suffer with as humans.
Yeah. So it's more of like just a calming, like relaxing kind of tincture?
Yeah, it's definitely, it's a liquid format, so you take it orally. And it can work on a multitude of things. I've used it for kids who are struggling with fear, having problems sleeping. Sometimes we're just like adjusting to a new stage of life, and herbs can really help us get past hard times, or calm our nervous system so that we can do things from a calmer state of being. And so generally, yeah, it tends to work along those lines.
Okay. Kind of a silly question here, but we've been doing it with all of our healthcare questionnaires here. With any of the practices here, does anything hurt? I know it sounds silly, but...
No, it's not silly. Well, I do blood draws. So I guess you could say, have you ever had your blood drawn?
I have not, no.
Oh, there's so many things that we could expose you to.
Yes.
You might want to start with the massage. It's basically putting a needle in your arm. And it's really not that bad. It's like the equivalent of like a bug bite or something. But that's probably the most painful thing that I do here. I have sometimes done finger pricks. I think those hurt worse. But beyond that, no, not most of the time.
Okay. And I'm scared of needles, but that doesn't sound that bad. So sure. It sounds like something we could get over.
I think you could do it.
Yeah, totally. Based upon alternative healthcare, do you think that this is a growing community, and do you think that more people should try it or look into it more?
Yes, I definitely feel like this is a growing community. It's an option that a lot of people are looking for. They're just looking to know that there are more options. I can tell you based on my practice, every day I'm having more and more people who are looking for a naturopath. Many people find me either from word of mouth or from just Googling to look for a naturopathic doctor or a functional medicine practitioner in their area. So people are definitely looking for more options in terms of either, what can I do on a day-to-day level to improve my health via nutrition or supplements, or even just be educated more about their health diagnoses and what it means and what they should look out for, and just to have the time to really spend to dig into those things and explain what things mean and what can be done about them.
Yeah, absolutely. And then if someone is interested in learning more about Rooted Family Medicine and the work that you do here, where can they find out more information?
Sure. My website is a great place to go. I haven't updated it in many years, so maybe this would prompt me to update it. No. I have a few blogs on there. I have a newsletter that you can sign up for. Have no fear. You will not be bombarded by emails if you sign up for it. I don't send that many out. But if I do have a speaking engagement or an event, sometimes I do plant walks or things of that nature. I would always put it on there, or I have a Facebook page and Instagram.
Awesome. So plenty of places.
Yes.
Multitude, yes. So go check out Dr. Ariel Barkheim. She's the owner of Rooted Family Medicine here in Winona, and schedule yourself a visit and start feeling better.
Hey, that sounds great.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ariel.
Thanks, Max.
Thanks again to Dr. Ariel Barkheim of Rooted Family Medicine for joining us today on Culture Clique. For more information about Dr. Barkheim and her services, go to rootedfamilymedicine.com. We hope you join us next week to learn more about Winona's unique options for health and wellness. Just tune in to Culture Clique, Thursdays at 12:30 right here on 89.5 KQAL. You can also listen to Culture Clique on your favorite streaming services by going to kqal.org. I'm Max Ackman, and we've just heard from Dr. Ariel Barkheim of Rooted Family Medicine today on Culture Clique.
Creating cultural awareness and understanding. You've been listening to Culture Clique. Support for Culture Clique is made possible by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. Culture Clique is produced by KQAL-FM on the campus of Winona State University. For more information, look us up on the web at kqal.org. And thanks for listening to Culture Clique.